Baruch Hashem, Yudal Cheshvan Erla Tesvav. We're going to learn Amud Kuf Nun Aleph and Kuf Nun Beis. We're going to start in the middle of Amud Kuf Nun. We're talking about the Inyanim where you have Ratzah and Shuv, and Shuv is the Iker, and that a Re'iyah Sasechel, there's difference in Re'iyah of Chachma, that there's a Re'iyah in Chachma, a Re'iyah that's only in the Moyach, which that's Taka, not necessarily through Yigiyah, but then through Yigiyah that it goes down into the Lev, and it goes through it, like it said in the end of on Amud Kuf Mem Tes, or was it Daf? Yeah, Kuf Mem Tes, that it's more Ma'amis, and there's more in of Kabbalah Sil, which you do through your own Avodah. Of Makam Achim Revor Shazelai de Akdamas Hasagas Hashlila V'Yidiyas Hafla. When you're thinking about something way beyond you, that only happens when you first have akdama of understanding how high it is. If the re'iyah you're doing, if the avodah you're doing there, you're looking at Elokus, if it's in a level which is shaykh to slapshus to olamas, which encloses in the world, and therefore shaykh b'zach tzaga, which has this idea of grasping the intellect and seeing it. This is only when you connect your mind and the idea, and then you can talk about asaga. When your re'iyah is trying to achieve an understanding in something which is higher than otherwise, first there has to be understanding what you cannot relate to, what you cannot understand. The yedias, and understanding how it's beyond you and the essence of the idea. And only once you get to there, then you can come to understand what the essence taka is. Seeing it is higher than understanding it through your mind. That knowing it through your das, is not the idea of intellect, it's more of a akara, more of an understanding or recognition of what the idea is. Higher than both of these is when you see it through the seichel. Higher than it is when you seichel. So it's antas the chachma. It's making it true through an understanding. It connects more in the essence of the thing. Both these ideas, the re'iyah and the asaga, both of them are in the essence. Seeing it is more in the essence of the thing than an understanding or recognition. Recognition, there's somewhat of your intellect enclosing in it. Your seichel recognize it. Not necessarily what it grasps. What you know. The essence of the thing. Since it's what the seichel, so it's already now removed from the essence, from the thing itself. It's removed into the seichel. So it's not the essence, it's not the actual thing. When you see it through your chachma's head, like when you see something, there's no mixture of seichel, it's what you see. It's clear by you. This reality, so this is amtus is a much higher level. When it goes into your moyach, and then it's even lower than recognition. After recognition, you work your way up. You come to realize it. You come to a reality. This whole idea of the re'iyah, both in asaga of a lakus that's in that you are shaykh to get. Side the re'iyah which comes after yidiyas hashlila. It's only through you toiling, which again, this is the way you reach these higher levels. Now, from here, for quite a big parentheses about this Indian, about is this taka a yigiyah or is it a seirus? Because remember we said there's a seirus mamaila, right? This idea of his Eirus Milamayla, But then there's also this idea that we're saying now that there's a Yigia, right? So he says, so let's talk about it a little bit over here. So he says, the essence of the reality, the real truthness, that staka comes milamayla, and it's a sudden. But it's not like this Eretz we said earlier. It still comes through toiling and working hard. Like when you work very hard on understanding something, and then it suddenly comes, you suddenly understand it. It's not that it came as Eretz Milamayla itself. First you were working on it. This that came suddenly, because it's a very deep seichel. The seichel is not so deep. You work your way up. So you start in Chachma, you go to the level of Keser, till it's revealed. The whole Shtalshlos. Mashiach and Seichel Amoik, a very, very deep Seichel, Babadech Diluk. It jumps from Keser Shebachachma straight to Chachma Agluya. This is Pshat that it comes suddenly. So you kind of maybe have a little bit of a Eros-like epiphany here, but that's through your Yigia. Same idea when you have your the Chachma. It's on a much higher type of level. Also the seeing is Milmaila. The real reality, that it's in itself, you can't just work on this Amsus. Comes suddenly. It's not similar to the Seichel Amik with the whole Seichel Mamash, which then even your Yigias understand it, and if not, they wouldn't come Pisa. Avalkan, there's no way you could toil for the Iyah. Kimbal Pisa Milmaila Taka comes suddenly. It's only after you go through the levels before, which, like we said at the beginning today, first the Asar Shlila, then the recognition, and then and the Yigia. Do not remove your mind from it. This is a principled condition. Do not remove your mind from this. Should constantly be have your mind in this thing. For all and then the lay, the resting, the concept sits in reality. Similar to the Avarabba we said earlier that comes after your Yikia. And it only comes out only after you work on yourself. So to the Sriya of Chachma comes only through your Yigia and Asar Shtudla. Still, you can't compare one to the other. You're doing Yigia, and it's not Shaykh at all to the Avarabba that comes later. It's not from the same style. It's not. The Avarabba you get is not anything like the Avodah you're getting through your in Meichalev. Umela Gilui the Avarabba, and Bemela this Gilui that you get through Avarabba. Harei a Gilui Milamayla b'vchinas Asur Sleil Levat. It's only a Gilui from the Eibishter. Asur Sleil, the help from above. Avol the Chachma. This that we understand now in Chachma. Harei Hayigia Yibinyanim Hashayich Achimilel. You're working on the same inyanim which lead up to there. It's a natural progression from your Asar Shlila, from your Akara, and you lead to there. All these things, understanding what you can't understand, knowing how it's great, the recognition, and the constant that you're constantly thinking about this. They're natural things which lead to this Chachma. It's much more more than when you work which there it's a Gile Ava way beyond, way above what you can work on your own. All this is only someone who reaches this level of Riyad Chachma. When you reach this level and you're ready to be Shuf, To come down and bring it back, bring this whole idea back down. Lamata and you are Shuv. This all the shuv that you're doing, that you're keeping yourself busy with living that Torah and mitzvahs. This is all your own avodah. Even though obviously the mark that remains from your av and your yad through the davening helps for this. That because of this mark, you could still do Torah mitzvahs all day. Besides to the fact that even this Rishima that comes from the Av of Yira is your Avodah, furthermore, this that you will not find a rest to your soul without Torah mitzvahs all day, and you're strengthening yourself every day, became a Torah mitzvahs. Now, this aspect has nothing to do with the Rishimu. Your Kabbalah self is Eris be'etzem avakem tel, because you on your own, by your etzem, you're giving yourself over to the Eibishter. You will not rest your soul. You're going to work all day in your avodah to serve the Eibishter in the oifed of returning back. And you strengthen yourself very much in this. Your own Yigiyah itself. So here you see that this level of shuv, you're already doing it through your Yigiyah. Yeah, you'll get to another level of shuv, the Riyah de Chachma, which is maybe somewhat pisim ilamayla. But all of your avodah that you're doing to get to that level is Yigiyah Koyach Atzmai. V'afshe Yeshloimar, perhaps we can say, Tehine Lamayla, B'chinas Rotzoi, the revelation from the Eibishter, when you come to Ratzoi, is only Shaykh by revelation from the Eibishter. It comes from a certain reason, or certain reason. The reason that the wants to Ratzi be consumed, wants to go up the Maila, since it's only a Ara, Vikala Ara, and he shine. Hemshech on the Kara is drawn back to the source of the Kara to be consumed in it, since it's only a shine and it isn't its own etzem and it's on itself. If you margeshes Makara feels its source, that's why it wants to be consumed, that's the idea of Ratzi. Also, the shine in its source is much higher than the way it is down here. Because it knows it's going to be higher there, it wants to be drawn back. There's also a reason in the Ratei, because the went into the Keli. The is a lot higher than the vessel it's in. It wants to go back. Like this was all said earlier, and like we discussed this. When we're talking about Atzmos, it's not to say Ratei. It's Etzem. You can't say it's leaving or exiting. From the level of Atzmos, there's no stira if it's somewhere that doesn't belong there. Atzmos doesn't have these problems that Ha'ara has. And it also doesn't have this problem of being an Ur and a Keli. That the Keli should be Lefi Erech the Ur, and the Ur should come down in a way that's shaykh for the Keli. The Chol Zayin Shaykh in Atzmos. This is not shaykh when we're talking about Atzmos. It's only shaykh by something that's Ha'ara, that's being drawn back to the Mar. Atzmos is Etzem. Atzmos is much higher than all this. And that's why Taka, we want to draw down Atzmos, we have to actually do a mitzvah. Because doing mitzvahs is not limited to the idea of a kli. Told us now, or you draw it through Torah, or the Neshamas of Yisrael, because Torah and Neshamas are the idea of Atzmos, so it's a natural place for Atzmos to be. But I'm just it's not shaykh to put it in these limitations, or this same problem where Ur wants to go back to Tzmakar. It's not shaykh by Ur Eliki. But this level of shuv, which is shaykh by the Ur Eliki, not by the Ur mitzad its essence. It's against its nature to stay down lamata. Ki mitzad atzmi, Because of the etzem. The etzem that they have in the Ur over here. Sha'arotzin ba'atzmos liyas b'chinas gila Ur. That the atzmos wants this Ur to be revealed. U'shum zel yerd v'nimshach. V'shkas Samach Macher. T'masha Ur yerd lamata b'chinas echach. That's the Ur goes down lamata. It's being forced. Why is it being forced? Because the atzmos wants it to be there. V'amachriach, what forces it? Hu'sherish ha'kli. It's the source of the kli. Sh'lamayla ma'ar. Which is higher than the Ur. And it forces it to come down because its source is higher than it. And makes it do something. Hebech it's teva. V'no tchilotzim b'seifon. And because the beginning is connected in the end, so the higher Shiur draws it down. That's why it's in a desire to go into the Kli, because the Ur now gets a benefit from the Ur. So what we have over here is that Ur naturally has Ratzoi, Atmos naturally doesn't have Ratzoi. Ur, Shuv is Eipech, it's Teva. What's about Shuv Atmos? Shaykh Kav B'chinas Shuv, unlike the Ur. Liyas Hemshech is Atmos. Kaidor the B'chinas HaShuv, this level of Shuv, Be'emes Notua, Mushatz Ba'atmos Ev Baruch Hu. This is rooted and planted in the etzem of the Eibishter, the Leil L'Toy B'Rel Sheves. The Eibishter wants it, the world to be populated. This is rooted in Atmos. And this is mitzad etzem, not because of a reason. There's no reason why the Eibishter wanted it. It's only because of the etzem of the Eibishter. According to this, we could say, perhaps the zel masham neshama is gam kim b'chinas ratzah adei zetam v'siva. By neshama is ratzah is only because of a reason. Fine neshnas adei service mamayla, because you're awakened. There's a service mamayla that causes you to do ratzah. V'ratzah b'chinas eretz v'aglum sheva nefesh, and that's why it's only the geloim of the nefesh. Av b'chinas shuv hu ben neshama mekech atzam b'sharsha. Shuv is in the source of the neshama. Shumushesh is b'chinas atzmos ein shay baruch hu. Because Atzmos Dafka has idea of Shuv, so it says the etzem and Neshama. The etzem of the Neshama Shumushesh was b'etzem, which is rooted in the same etzem of the Atzmos. Yesh b'chinas HaShuv b'etzem. It also has this Shuv of the Neshama. How is this Shuv in the Neshama? So bitol ha'etzem shala, to go against its, to nullify its own etzem shala, liyas b'chinas dveikus b'chinas kiloim b'atzmos, not to be drawn and consumed in Atzmos. Kim liyas b'chinas Shuv l'mata dafka b'kim Torah mitzvahs. So we said over here, is this idea that the neshama is more drawn into shuv is because the neshama's source is in Atmos, and Atmos is more shaykh to shuv. Why? Because the idea of ratzah is by Ur. Ur wants to be drawn back. Etzem doesn't have this idea of being drawn back. Etzem doesn't have a problem of being in a place where it's loy lefi erikai. Atmos doesn't have that issue. The neshama, being that it's mushash and Atmos, the neshama has the same characteristic where it now takes shuv over ratzeh. This is what we find. Sheyimatzeh ba'adam koyach. A person will have koyach. Will find the strength. The chizuk mitzad atzmei dafka. Strength on his own. Is hilach dak Hashem Torah mitzvahs kol hayom. Dahainu shlo yuchal im tzeh menach l'nafshe. You're not going to be able to rest. Im lo yishiyasik v'yavdez inin avedel l'kis b'evin amshach skila early kid l'slavish d'ur b'mais dafka. You're not going to be able to rest without finding some godly avodah to do, either speech or doing. But b'dibur Torah that to learn, ma'aseh tzedakah, mitzvahs loss or any other mitzvah. But zoyis dafka, and only when you do a Torah, you do mitzvahs to nuach ruchai, your spirit will rest, v'daitoi, and your mind, v'tisnachem nafshe, and your soul will be comforted. If not, you're not going to be excited all day by just being drawn the mila. It's only by drawing down the earth. This doesn't come from the love and you're drawn davening to quench your thirst, which comes after ratzeh. It's not just to quench your thirst. Your humility. Because you know you're nothing. Which is the opposite of ratzeh. That this is the opposite of ratzeh, where you feel you're a yesh and you want to be consumed. Rather here, you know you're nothing be'etzem. You will not find any relaxation to your soul. The etzem nullification you have in your soul, through davening, this will shine. Like seeing chachma shenirgash b'leiv kinal chagavna, because of this feeling, this allows you to do shuv, to draw down and do Torah mitzvahs down here. Or because of Kabbalas Ol, to close in the Kabbalas Samach Vov, but gamkin mitzad habitl ha'atzmi the sheva neshama. This Kabbalas Ol is also the bitl in the neshama. That's only Yidden have this. This also comes out through davening. So we have two in the other way. One way you're shiftless, you feel humility by yourself, and another way you have Kabbalas Ol. So by Kabbalas Ol comes in a different way. The b'shiftless analysis mitzad shu b'chinas ayin uma be'etzem. Since you are nothing, you will not find the relaxation until you actually do Torah mitzvahs and do something useful with yourself. Kabbalas Ol the Kabbalas Ol is a different oifen. You're totally given over to the Eibishter. And you're not a Metzias at all. Since you're nothing, you want to do what the Eibishter wants. And not that you want something that is your own. We'll continue this thought tomorrow, the difference between shiftless and Kabbalas Ol, and how it manifests itself in one's ratzon. But al we see over here that the shuv is where the neshama light shines, because the shuv is where the neshama is migala its connection to the etzem neshama. A good